So where the American Bully, where the Blue Nose, and where all these dogs came from, that's what you're going to learn on this video. So a lot of people are asking me, say, Chico, how come these dogs are fake pit bulls? How come I never heard such a thing about fake pit bulls? How come, I trust you, Chico, and I see your footprint and the breed and all the things you do and all the things you have done, but you're the only one that says this. Well, it's very sad that some people actually knew of this truth for a very long time, but decided to be quiet because people don't want adversity. People want the easy path. They don't want to be faced with the hate or the rejection of other people that might be offended. That's one of the main things. But I'm going to give you a small recount of where those dogs came from. Let's start just by saying that in 1970, the United States government tried to disappear the American Pitbull Terrier in total. You probably were not born at the time. As a matter of fact, 1970, I was not born. But it took them some time and it scared a lot of people, got him out of the dogs. By 1974, the American Pitbull Terrier standard was made by Dale Brastrom, and trying to save the breed and show them as show dogs. You see, before that, people were fighting dogs all over the United States, which is part of the breed, which is, the dogs were never pets that became fighting dogs. The dogs were always match dogs that through a process that's incredible, scientific, and proven, called epigenetics, where courage and loyalty, courage, never give up, courage and the ability to persevere and the inspiration, they all come together. And those dogs that were fighting dogs, they went through a process where they love humans even more because they were together in hard times, and the dogs had courage and they became super attached to humans. No other breed has ever come to that process. Not any other breed has. That's why the real American Pitbull Terrier loves a human so much more. The connection is so deeper. That's why dogs that are hunting dogs can love their human owners so much. And the toy dogs will actually hide them behind the owner and let them face the bear or the lion or the coyote or the wolf because they have no courage. And that's why you see that the men that do like any sort of sport where you fight, and you have to have courage, they also have great character and great personality. That's why you love the movie Braveheart. That's why you love the movie Rocky Balboa and Rambo and all those stuff, because those people are absolutely amazing. Now I tell you, the love of courage and the word gameness is a word that is very, very special. Even when you are in a high level, you're a realtor, you are a CEO of a company, you're a founder. When you are at the high level, there's a book called Gameness. What's the name of it, Thais? Gameness.com? That's the name of it? Gameness.com? I don't think so.
David Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called Gameness? Look it up. Thais going to look up the book. I got a couple books in there. I want to make sure that I give you the right website. Don't get that name yet until I confirm. So,
Yes, Gameness. Land on your feet.
let me see the name of the website. What's the name of the website? I'm going to verify for you. That's the name of the book. The name of the book is called Gameness. You can find it in Amazon.com. The name of the website, I don't know it yet, but the name of the book is called Gameness. You can literally purchase this book here by Dennis, David Dennis, right here. You see that right there? See that right there? Okay. None of your information comes up when I put this here, like that. Nothing that matters, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to edit the video. Nothing that matters, okay. Because there's a lot of bad people out there. I'm not saying you're probably a very good person. So anyhow, so people love gameness. So that book right there, which is Gameness, you go to Amazon.com and you put the book Gameness, Game Ness, by David Dennis. And you'll get that book if you are in business, if you're a person like that. So now let me tell you. So those dogs were inspirational for the dogs of the 1800s. The first dog that got the name American Pitbull Terrier, and was imitated and falsely named Pitbull, which it was the American Staffordshire Terrier that came later, made by the AKC. And a lot of people don't know these. And you're learning now here with Chico Lopez. And those AKC dogs were made out of American Pitbull Terriers, but the process, the framework of creation and selection is absolutely different. So the results become different. You get a different dog. And that is a huge problem when you get a different dog. But the people still thought, well, that's a Pitbull, this is a Pitbull, they go by the look. And that is a big problem to go by the look. Big problem. And so for a long time, a lot of people confused the two different breeds, but one went through one path, the other one went through a different path. And of course, the registries, they will try to get the money from the clients. And so they'll start cross-registering, double registration, all this BS. But the real dog is the pit dog that was a fighting dog, that became the nanny dog, that became the American Pitbull Terrier, that's going through the 1800s, is going to the early 1900s, and you cannot find it on every neighborhood. You know, pit bull dogs around me. That internet didn't exist, so you can only get these dogs. If, you know, in 1940 you said, "Oh, I got a breeder around the neighborhood." I said, "Who? What's his name?" You can only get American Pit Bull Terriers from a specific man, because there was a sense of respect for the men that give their lives, and they had this genetic gene pool that they were working with, that they had this signature and qualities, and there were some basic qualities. Non-men biters, because part of the temperament of the dog. Men biters were quitters when they were fighting, so they select only dogs that wouldn't quit. Although bad, famous guys select many hard-biting dogs because they were producing hard-biting dogs, and they were terrible dogs. As a matter of fact, many famous dogs within the American Pit Bull Terrier name were horrible. Chinaman, Bullison, Zeeble, and you have guys that swear for it and make stories about it. I never care about those dogs. But anyhow, so we go into the 1970s. This story, in 1970s, 1974, 76, the Animal Act was created and became a felony in the United States to fight dogs. And society would just keep on changing. You see, when the people were fighting dogs in the past, they were not like your society. They were a different society. Those men, those women, they didn't care about that. They didn't have television, they didn't have electricity, they didn't have all these distractions that you have. And they didn't have this feeling of equality, this feeling of you deserve everything and your opinion matters. It was different. It was a real alpha male's hard life. You know, winning was everything. So these people were inspired by this dog. As a matter of fact, you might not know this, but the terminology of underdog, that if you go to any corporation and they say, well, man, listen, Mr. Jones, Mr. Carlo, whatever, you know, you're the underdog because you come from that university or this university or your background, but if you work very hard, if you work extra hours, if you prove yourself, you can become, you know, from underdog, become the top dog. This experience of becoming the top dog, coming from the underdog, and the underdog, you know, the Cinderella story where the underdog becomes the top dog, the Rocky Balboa story, where the guy, you know, was just a dummy meat packer type of guy and he becomes the world champion. That story comes inspired by that underdog. The whole thing, the whole concept of it, underdog, top dog, come from two dogs fighting in the 1800s in a pit, in a fighting pit. One's the bottom, one's on the top. So underdog and top dog. Move forward. Now, the American people are in love with the American Pit Bull Terrier. Some of them are confused. Some of them don't know if he's the American Staffordshire Terrier or the American Pit Bull Terrier, and so they're confused. But some of them leak into the communities. Some of them got bred in the neighborhoods, and slowly but surely, the neighborhoods that did not have a breeder, which those are not real breeders, to be honest with you. The real breeders were men that inherit from their fathers and their grandparents culture, ideas, understanding about dogs, and they went through that process. Now all of a sudden you have a guy which is only a dog owner, and they start, you know, have a female, this guy got a male, this breeding, let's make some dogs. They call that a breeder. That kind of guy was never a breeder. They will never consider a breeder. He's just a simple cheesy guy from the neighborhood making some puppies, some puppy peddler. And now they go from puppy peddler to scammer to backyard breeder to all this stuff, to being proud of being a backyard breeder, and so on and so forth. So now American bullies do not even come to the picture. But since the breeders left in 1974, 1976, that left a vacuum. Don't forget this, left a vacuum, a space. And so the red noses, which were the thing that it was precious within the American Pit Bull Terrier breed, that it became something that you needed to balance it with something else. So you didn't have red noses to create these mutts. or these dogs that were not real pit bulls. So what they did is they started to play games with the idea of, when you have boxing, for instance, you have a red corner, you have a blue corner, and so the opposite of red is blue, kind of like the opposite of white is black, and black is the opposite of white, where blue and red, so they're blue. They came up with this idea of those blue dogs. Some of them came from the Staffordshire Terrier size, but they make a pop out of it. They made a story that stuck, and the story was, this is the blue-nosed dog. The dogs don't have a blue nose. But if Thais hand me over a puppy from over there right now, I will show you a nose that is actually red. Anyhow, so those blue nose dogs, they label them as American Pit Bull Terriers. And the greedy registrations, they say, let's register those dogs, they're popular, and we can make some money. And so they took them with make excuses. That's a red nose right there. See that? Right there, that's red. Red nose, right there. So now, what happens is, they came out and they say, we're going to register those dogs. So the people that were supposed to be registering and gathering and holding the heritage of the breed agreed that for profits, it was good to register these dogs, and paper hanging came out in the play. And so it started with the UKC, out of all people, who started registering these mutts and destroyed the name of the American Pit Bull Terrier. They used the name. They took the name of a Rolex watch and they put it into a Casio. And they say, this is a Rolex. It gives the time. If it gives the time, it doesn't matter. And the same thing they did with other things in life. If it doesn't bother you, don't worry about it. If it doesn't hurt you, don't even talk about it. And so they did that. And so by 1985, there were some guys that were already had bred some of these nasty dogs that became aggressive towards people, and oversized dogs, big heads, big bones. And those dogs were aggressive, and they called them pit bulls that were not real pit bulls. Because see, the word pit bull, it comes from a dog, only one dog. It's called APVT, American Pit Bull Terrier. And they took that dog, they took that name, and they slapped it on those dogs. And the breeders, the bred American Pit Bull Terriers, some of them were complaining. They will say like, that's not a real pit bull. That's not a real pit bull. So I remember by 1992, there were some magazines hanging around where they were supposed to be magazines exclusively for American Pit Bull Terrier breeders, that in their pages had these no pit bull dogs, fake pit bulls. It was a scam. And that scam was selling and making money out of the gazoo. And so what happens is the breeders of American Pit Bull Terriers that didn't love the breed, that they were for the money, they were profiteers at large, they were selling American Pit Bull Terriers or American Pit Bull Terriers kind of like one generation, 2 generations down, watered down. And maybe the dog don't have papers, maybe the dog has papers, but he doesn't come really from the top of the elite man, but he's watered down from that man, got a puppy, bred some dogs, and so that order. And those dogs at the time, back in the 90s, were $500, $1,000 maximum. But those fake pit bulls, the blue ones, blue nose, fake blue nose, that were bigger in size, those dogs were selling by the size of the head, the big legs, and how heavy they were. And they were making money, guys. The real American Pit Bull Terriers with a little bit of pedigree, $400, $500, $1,000 in the 1990s. Those other dogs that are literally mutts, they were being sold for $10,000, $50,000, $100,000. They were making videos. Rappers got involved. The whole community. Yeah, it was sad. Puff Daddy come. All those guys started getting around those dogs. And so it became a huge profit. It was a huge boom. But they used the name of the real dog. To the point that Netflix made a show about a dog that was supposed to be a giant pit bull, but it's not a giant pit bull. It's actually not related to an American Pit Bull Terrier. Do not qualify to be an American Pit Bull Terrier. If they wouldn't make the move, if they wouldn't make it and say, this is the great story about big dog, whatever, it wouldn't have a boom because you attach the name Pitbull. There is a singer, which is a very good singer, by the way, Latino singer, Spanish singer from Cuba. He called himself Pitbull, and that was a boom because the name of Pitbull still had a respectable name. It was the dog of the alpha male, the real macho man. And at the time, back in the 70s, back in the 60s, back in the 40s, being a real man was something to be proud and honorable. Opposite of today, toxic masculinity, horrible guy. We want them to be weak, to fly like butterflies. Opposite. men with nails like this, always priceless, real men. Today, they paint them and all that kind of stuff, earrings, lipstick, man. This is horrible, horrible. And those guys are the ones that promoted these other dogs. They started making dog shows with the woman, you know, in bikini and all, things that didn't, just to attract people, attract dummies, and became a huge business. And so the American Pitbull Terrier were the real one, were big time underground. And thugs and criminals, rapists got the hand of it. Drug dealers. There was a time back in 2006 or 7 that if you had a map of the United States and you had the drug dealers in America and you had the guys that have pit bulls, game dogs in America, and you put it together like that, one is clear, the other one is hard, and you put them together, the dots almost connect down, all the way down to Mexico. And so the breed has changed from hands. Luckily, in 1990, I had some dogs, I had some research, and I was holding those dogs. I wasn't working with breeders, I was holding dogs for myself. 2007, 2008 came, an explosion. The name of the American Pitbull Terrier was exposed on television because of this guy that they caught him doing bad stuff. And the breeders that had dogs that were 40, 50, 60 years old just got rid of their dogs and threw them up in the air. Boom! And the criminals and the thugs, bam, snatched them. That became the swamp. And they started breeding these dogs and trying to be dogmen. They're not dogmen. They are the swamp. And the real breeders just got out. Some of them after 15, 20 years, everything is cool off a little bit. I'm still alive, you know, weak guys. They were weak in their times. They're very soft weight, lightweight guys. They were lightweight back in the days. They lightweights now. And so the dogs disappear. So the people that are 40 years old, they were born, and the first dog that somebody told them is a pit bull, it was never a pit bull. It was a Merle dog, deformed. It was a bully, deformed, being called XL, double XL, triple XL pit bull, giant pit bull. And some of them were called bullies. So it's a mixture. You see, in England, they first banned the pit bull, the name pit bull. But what they were banning, the name, the actual dog that fit that name was an XL pit bull. It was not a real pit bull, like real American Pit Bull Terrier, 40 to 50 pounds, 40 to 60 pounds. They didn't have that. They banned the name pit bull, they banned the breed pit bull, but what they were really banning, it was the fake one. And for a long time, then they introduced them, same dog, under the name of American Bully. And when the bullies did the same thing that the fake XL Pitbull did, they beat and killed somebody, now they banned the XL. It was always the same dog. But the breeds were not smart enough to understand that. They're confusing the little action and the stuff they're doing. So they dropped the ball. And in America, the people started making money. But like everything else, they overbred them. And everybody that bought them wanted to become a businessman and make money with the dogs. To the point that now today, 2024, all the shelters are packed with blue, Merle, Zeal color type of dog. And they are loaded. And there's people here watching this video that have some of those dogs that were good dogs. Because some of them have sparkles of the real dog, the nanny dog that I told you about. And the ones that are aggressive towards kids, like the XL Bully with the Kimbo, study it. Actually, I can text it to you, the link to the Kimbo gene, and they're killing people. Those are still around. And so the guy that at 40 years old started to like those dogs. When you have a guy like me with white hair in the head that comes telling him this stuff, you think, no, this guy is crazy. This guy don't make no sense. This guy is lying. They never saw an American Pitbull Terrier. If you want to see one, go to my page, therealpitbull.com, chicolopez.com, 123pitbulls.com, 123pitbull.com. And you start to see the real dogs. They're different, they're special. 40 pounds, 45, 50, 60 pounds. Some of them once in a while, they could be conditioned around 54 pounds max. And if they're not conditioned, you know, what is called off the chain, walking around couch weight, the couch weight might be 65. But they're not 80 pounds. And the dogs, they put these little chains on them, like, you know, like a rapper. I feel bad. Even some of my owners, they do it. They don't know better. So that's it. Now you know what happened to the real American Pitbull Terrier, how it disappeared, and how I'm here with it, and that is why I don't sell to breeders. Breeders are failed. And then those guys that are old timers, yeah, we old timers, you cannot, if you don't give us credit, you know, we were behind before you came in. It was under your watch. The people called this dog blues. And you, some of you and your friends jump on the wagon and started selling those dogs. And some of those guys are selling those blue nose, and some of them are selling the bullies. And they say, oh, I used to have this bloodline, that bloodline, but I got out of it in 2000. There was more money. Some of them are very honest, stupidly honest. They say, there's more money on these, so I'm breeding these dogs, but you know, I got children now, and I want my children to have the experience I had with the gray dogs. They are nowhere to be found. I know you don't sell to breeders, but I want you to sell me one or two for my children. Here's the picture of my daughter, a picture of my son. They deserve to have it. No, they don't deserve to have shit. I'm not going to sell you a dog. I can't trust you. You betrayed the American Pitbull Terrier. So me, I'm making this here because I'm not selling you a dog. More than likely, most of you looking at this video, I'm not going to sell you a dog. I only work with honest people. I only work with decent people. I only work with great people. But I also like to teach. So a few of you that are watching this video are probably saying, this guy is probably right. Let me do my research. There's probably that all the Excels are mutts. It's probably that all the American bullies are mutts. They were so mutt that they couldn't have one breed standard. They have 4. That should tell you everything. Biggest joke. And they are very sick genetically, because the people that bred them, the masters of the breeder in 20, 30 years on those dogs, don't know nothing about genetics. And to be honest with you, extremely hard job. Don't have the understanding of a dog. Started with bad genetics, continue with poor genetics, and when you breed dogs to make the client happy in terms of the color, in terms of what they like, you failed. For me, this is the dog I have. If you don't like it, you don't have to have it. You understand? That's why everybody that's blessed to owning one of my dogs had to call me, and I have to make sure the person is good, because I'm protecting a gem. I'm protecting diamonds. I'm protecting a masterpiece of Chico Lopez, the Golden Vein. The best dogs ever of the American Pitbull Terrier is called the Apex. The summit, the tip of the Apex, if I put a knife right here, and the sharp part is called the Apex. And the breed went up in my end. It went up to the Apex. And at one point, when you go over the Apex, it will start to go down. It's inedible. But we are the Apex. So someone that gets a dog from me is buying the dog of the American Pitbull Terrier, the highest quality ever. Ever. I wanted you to learn why the bully and the Pitbull, you know, almost 100% is not a real American Pitbull Terrier. And if you know about game dogs and you like to see videos and YouTube videos about illegal stuff, you know, the guys that deal with that, most of the time, we're seasonal dog fighters. We seasonal event. Very little, you know, total garbage. Stay away from those guys. The grand majority, drug dealers, scumbags, rapists, lowlifes. Follow the law. Love your dogs. If you got a bully, if you got a merle, love this dog. Love the dog. Do the best you can for it. Next time you want to get a great dog, do your homework with me. Learn from me. Shop around anywhere, and then you got. But if you make the mistake to say, I'm going to do my research, and you go into the ocean of lies, into the ocean of fake news, you'll end up like the men on the 1100s and the 1200s. Earth is flat. God bless you. My name is Chico Lopez, and I really truly hope that this video added value to you. Thank you. Bye.